Hi guys, this is Tablet-News.com and I'm here with the iPad 2018, the 9.7-inch slate that Apple unveiled this year, and we're here for a full review of the device. So the most affordable iPad available right now with the freshest hardware is this one. It's priced at $329. Well, students can get it for $299, and it's even Apple Pencil compatible, but that one is sold separately and it's priced at 99 bucks. So yes, this one interacts with the Apple Pencil. It's got the specs basically of an iPhone 7, and of course a larger screen. It's available in silver, gold, and space gray. And let's talk about design first. So a pretty generic format with big bezels, so you can properly put your fingers here and hold it properly. It's got an aluminum unibody approach, pretty decent grip, not the heaviest tablet in the world, 469 grams. And it also measures 7.5 millimeters in thickness. As a comparison, the iPad Air 2 was 6.1 millimeter thick and weighed 437 grams. So a pretty okay grip, nice build, and I find it odd to get accustomed to not having that special mute button lock switch here. I always try and find it to mute the device, but it's not there. Anyways, at least we have the audio jack at the top. That hasn't been sacrificed. So typical iPad, comfy design, especially in landscape mode. And aside from that, let's talk about the screen. So we're getting a 9.7-inch IPS LCD screen with LED backlight. The resolution is 2048 over 1536 pixels, and it has a special oleophobic coating, although we managed to get prints on it every once in a while. It's a non-laminated panel. There is a bit of a distance between the glass and the actual panel, and I have to say that the device feels okay if you have the black facade. If it's any other color at the front, the screen may look weird in white, for example. Now the actual viewing experience involves us putting it to the test using our typical video sample. So we got this here, and of course you can also go more in depth like this. So my impression after watching quite a bit of Netflix on this screen is that the brightness is good, solid contrast, okay-ish viewing angles, even though at some angles you may notice the not stellar panel, which is non-laminated, and there's a distance between the panel, and the colors are nicely calibrated. So as far as iPads are concerned, this is quite an okay one. Now we also did the other tests. For example, we put the screen under the microscope, and this is what the pixels are like, RGB straps pixels. Then we did more. We tested the brightness with a special lux meter, achieving 440 lux, which is solid. It beats the iPad mini 2 and the Samsung Galaxy Tab S 8.4, scores below the Galaxy Tab S2 9.7 and the Nexus 7 2013. Wow, it's been a while. In case you're wondering why we have those dated references, we haven't been testing as many tablets because the whole tablet segment is basically going down. Now, as far as the settings for the screen are concerned, we go here, display, brightness, night shift, auto lock, text size, and bold text. Night shift will make things less blue. It will eliminate the blue light of the screen, and will make things more yellow and will not harm your melatonin secretion. When it comes to the rest of the hardware, the CPU here is very familiar. It's the Apple A10, the Apple A10 Fusion 64-bit CPU. I have it on my own iPhone 7, and it's also got the M10 coprocessor and accompanied by 2 GB of RAM and 32 or 128 GB of storage. There's absolutely no lag. You can see here I've been using the device for Asphalt 9, PUBG, Hello Neighbor, Netflix, iMovie, Photoshop Express, a lot of Apple Pencil and productivity, so zero problems whatsoever. We played the game Riptide GP Renegade, which is one of our benchmark games, but the simple fact that it can run PUBG Mobile with zero problems is testimony enough to its performance. We also did a bunch of benchmarks here, like Geekbench 4, and in Geekbench 4, in the multi-core subtest, we beat the Galaxy Tab S2, the iPad Air 2, but scored below the Huawei MediaPad M3. And keep in mind, this is the Geekbench 4 multi-core test. Now, the test that impressed me the most was the Antutu one. In Antutu, we were actually able to score 198k points, which is pretty impressive. We're actually getting close to some of the flagships this year, flagship phones actually, not only tablets. And we're actually close to the Huawei P20 Pro, which was a powerful phone earlier this year. As you can see, the gaming checks out. And as I said before, we have a bunch of benchmarks. Here they are. We got the Jest Stream, we got an excellent result in Sun Spider, 200 ms, which means Safari is still kicking it. These scores are high enough to beat maybe something like a mid-range phone. This is the Antutu score. Many flagships with Android phones actually reach this score and are proud of it. So basically, I would say we're doing fine performance-wise. Now let's see how we also did in the graphical department. Okay, so graphics wise, we got Slingshot here with its 2581 points, and this actually is 300 points below the Huawei P20 Pro. I know it's weird to compare tablets to phones, but we haven't tested as many tablets recently, so if we're comparing ourselves to a flagship phone from the current year, which is priced at around double the price, it's actually not a bad result. So we're done with this. Let's see if the tablet overheats. Nope, it does not. 34.9 degrees Celsius achieved when running the benchmarks you saw before. Actually not bad. And we're running the game Riptide, or for that matter PUBG, Asphalt 9, Hello Neighbor, only 35.9 degrees Celsius, so you can forget about overheating with this device. We go further than that. The battery is a 32.4 watt-hour unit lithium polymer. On paper we're promised up to 10 hours of Wi-Fi web watching or music, things like that. So we tested the video playback and let's see what came out of that experience. So basically we achieved a time of 10 hours 6 minutes, which is solid as promised. 10 hours 6 minutes of video playback, beats the Xiaomi Mi Pad 7.9, the Nokia N1, scores below the Lenovo Yoga Book and the Galaxy Tab S2, and also the iPad Air 2 by about 1 hour. Still it beats several other phones, other tablets out there like Chewy and the Mi Pad 2 and MediaPad N3. Anyways, that's it in a nutshell. That's the video playback. You see it here, 10 hours and 6 minutes. Now when it comes to continuous usage, on iOS we do not have PC mark, but we have common sense. I can tell you that 35 minutes of PUBG mobile means minus 10% battery. And I can also tell you that a hardcore session of Netflix, some gaming, some Facebook, and some office productivity for about, let's say, something like 6 or 7 hours depletes the battery by about 80%, maybe 90%. So that's the vibe. You're basically getting something like 7-8 hours of full continuous hardcore usage at the office for this slate, which is actually not bad. What's not that impressive is the charging time, 3 hours 25 minutes, quite long, but it's better than the iPad Air 2 charging. And we did step-by-step charging. Basically after 1 hour you're at a mere 25%. And sadly, even though I wished we had it, we don't have any sort of power saving and battery saver and things like that. So that's too bad. Okay, now when it comes to the acoustics, things are pretty straightforward. You look here, we got 2 speakers on the bottom, so to say, in portrait, and on the side in landscape. And I'm going to put them to the test. Let's see how we can do that without infringing any sort of copyright and other oddities. So we have a bunch of music here, which is copyright free. Fingers crossed for that thing. Okay. Here we go. And this is it. Okay, my conclusion is that the speakers are stellar. I know there's not 4 of them. Some tablets nowadays from Samsung or Huawei have 4 of them. Well, Apple has to do the trick with 2 of them. So the tablet vibrates a lot, but we have a very solid bass. And the video watching on Netflix was actually mind-blowing. The voices, the ambience, the music, the sounds, and even the games like Asphalt 9 felt excellent. Too bad there's only 2 of them. I would have liked maybe 1 here and 1 here, or something like 1 here and 1 here. Maybe 4, but it's a lower price tablet, so we have to deal with that aspect. Now we also did some tests with a special tool, special decibel measurement unit. So 85.8 decibels achieved at the front and the back of the device, which means we beat the Lenovo Yoga Tab 3 Pro and the Galaxy Tab S2 Pro. Still we score below the Nokia N1 and Samsung Galaxy Tab A9.7. This was the first test, and then the second one, is this one here, 95.2 decibels achieved in Riptide GP Renegade. It's rather solid. It beats the iPad Air 2 and Galaxy Tab S2, so an overall nice acoustic experience. Now if you go here and you go to the sounds, you got extra options, or you should have extra options. If you go here, you got an equalizer with genre settings, there's volume limit, sound check, and of course there's Apple Music, where you can actually view and watch what I've been listening to right now. These are the tunes. This is the browsing section, and I was pretty happy with the experience. Now, as far as the camera is concerned, the setup feels pretty typical for a tablet that's priced at a bit lower than usual. So we're dealing here with a main 8 megapixel camera, sans flash, autofocus, panorama, HDR, on point, full HD video, and at the front there's a 1.2 megapixel shooter. Nothing fancy, nothing out of the ordinary. There's f2.4 aperture for the main camera, there's f2.2 aperture for the front camera. Now I won't bore you with the interface, which is very typical, but I will show you some samples which some of you may find to be mind-blowing. So I started with selfies. These selfies pretty much reflect how people will see you during the FaceTime calls. They're actually not bad. I know they're burnt by the sun, but come on, who's making FaceTime calls in the sun on the tablet? These are the shots taken with the main camera. Actually not bad. They put to shame some of the mid-range phones out there. Even the HDR is good, and as usual, Apple has one good thing going for it: the colors. These are pictures taken with an iPad. $329 iPad, and it actually beats many phones out there. I would say it's on the level of maybe an iPhone 5, iPhone 5s, and that's actually not half bad. Okay, and we also did some videos like this one here. There was a lot of sun. The microphone barely faced the wind, but it did. Full HD video, some weird exposure, but no refocus and no problems, and a decently solid microphone. This one was filmed with a tablet, so in the end, not that bad. And one more with a creepy carousel. Once again, filmed with a tablet, so not actually bad. Okay, we're happy with the camera, and now let's talk about other aspects. When it comes to the connectivity, we got the lightning port at the bottom, which you can see here. There's also Wi-Fi A, B, G, and AC. We got Bluetooth 4.2. There's also MIMO support and Wi-Fi calling, and there's also an LTE version out there with 8 GPS and GLONASS support. Of course, we also did a speed test, and let's see what came out of that experience. Up to 462 megapixels in download, which is excellent, and up to 25.1 megapixels in upload. I would say we're doing quite fine speed-wise. Actually, one of the best speeds out there. The device runs on iOS 11, it's actually 11.4.1, and we did a very extensive analysis of iOS 11 last year. If you remember, we had a very lengthy article about it with bullet points for each new feature in iOS 11. So it brought a new control center, it got rid of the concept of lock screen, and this is the new control center with the pill-shaped thingies which are customizable. This is the multitasking with all of the apps opened, and you also have another extra level of multitasking. So for example, if I do this, I will achieve the new dock, which is not even 1 year old, and I can do this and do some multitasking, so I can use two apps at the same time. We got the web browser and also the recents available here, better said files. Files is also a novelty. We didn't have a file browser till this version. We have a smarter Siri, the iPad dock, the new app switcher. As I said before, there's no more lock screen. It's simply the pull down section, basically your view of what's happening today on the device. The screenshots are no more complex with more editing options. You can see them here, and some of them are related to pen input and things like that. Still, I'm going to call this feature one for tourists because you will circle objectives for them. For example, you also have the flick keyboard. So if I were to write something and I need a symbol, I flick down and there comes the symbol. Okay, other than that, we got writing and drawing via the inking features in Mail and Notes. We have handwriting recognition within Notes. So if I write something in Notes using the pen or my hand, like this, scribbling around, you can actually search it even if it's handwritten, and that's pretty cool. Search by keywords. Okay, I guess it's time to talk about the Apple Pencil. So here it is. It's very easy to pair with the device. You just activate your Bluetooth from here, then you hook it up to the Lightning port, as I did in the unboxing, and voila, you got a functional Apple Pencil. The Apple Pencil is a bit too big for me. I'm used to the Samsung stylus, the S Pen, and let's see what's happening here. So it can get slippery if your hand is sweaty, that's for sure. It's rather glossy, and let's see what we can do with it. So first of all, we got this thingy right here. We got the Notes app, and I can scribble stuff around, so I can use it with various levels of pressure, although those levels aren't exactly as impressive as you'd expect. You can of course draw, and you can activate all sorts of markup options and colors and tips, a variety of them to get going. Once again, even though they brag about various levels of pressure, let's actually try it, and you'll see that it's not that impressive, not compared to Wacom, for example. So gentle press and hard press, not that big of a difference unless you're really looking at it. So this is just the Notes app. This is one of the things you can use it for. I actually installed more apps to get the pencil going, and as you can see, you can also navigate with it. You can also select letters from the keyboard with it and more. But the actual usage comes in these more complex apps like the Photoshop Express. Only one example we're dealing here. So tap a picture that you want to edit, and then start playing around with a bunch of filters and options. Much easier to use with this pencil than with the finger. That's my impression. You can also do a bit of cropping. Okay, transform, rotate, square, all sorts of options and effects. You can go in depth. You can create a tint, saturation, auto detect and correct, even add some text, explore the world, and much more. A lot of stuff. I'm actually messing in the wrong way with the image. I actually totally deformed it in a way that, well, some people probably would not enjoy. These were actually some nachos, and I actually deformed them a lot. Okay, so now we go back. Don't save. You can do a lot of other things. This is only one example. It's Photoshop Express. We also have Photo Fox with some light tricks, and there's something pretty cool here that I want to show you. So let's see, we got eraser, and I'm going to do this. You can actually erase something from the background. You can apply a filter and then actually delete it and leave only what matters to you. And that's only one of the examples of things to do. You can invert stuff, you can restore, only bits and pieces, of course. You can use shapes that you can apply here. Everything is made easier because you have sausage fingers. Well, you don't have sausage fingers anymore if you're using this app, and you can create a beautiful greeting card for your mother for Mother's Day, and that's about it. We also have Adobe Sketch, Adobe Photoshop Sketch, another example of using the Apple Pencil. These are some of my art projects, not the best in the world, but quite a few tips to play with. And you can also use this to draw around it. May come in handy if you really want to get those straight lines, and you can also change its orientation and do another stuff here. Also attach various geometrical elements and forms, and also contour around them. How cool is that? Okay, of course there are a ton of features to unlock with paid options. You also have something called UMake. You can install dozens of apps that take advantage from the Apple Pencil, but still I remain a stylus guy myself, an S Pen guy. This is an architecture software. You can actually rotate a house all the way around, create multiple layers and multiple floors, but for the best features you have to pay. You can see here you got AR, you got send to desktop and more. It's a reliable app. I've seen its demo, it's quite solid. Okay, other than that we have Evernote, which lets you take notes and syncs them up. You press this and you can start writing from the get-go, and you can also use the pen if you want to. Not sure how this works yet. So you can also add people to this. You can create a shareable link. You can have your notebooks, create a new one, split them by themes. Let's see what else. Add people, I already did that. Let's see, reminder, note details, and I think this is the option we're looking for. You can draw, you can trigger some of the options. We have here the size, the color, and everything is in line, as you can see. And you can also keep adding text right next to it and also attach stuff like recents. You can browse around for it. So that's pretty cool. Okay, of course, pages, numbers, keynote, even iMovie can make good use of your not sausage fingers, the Apple Pencil. So you go here and you start editing stuff. You may be pretty happy with the result. Continue, create a project. People are asking me just how fast things are moving in iMovie because this tablet is an affordable one. Come on. Okay, I would say pretty fast. That's my response. Pretty fast for this tablet. Okay, I picked this, and probably a good idea to also pick a video. This one, select. Some of these are in the cloud, so it may take a while to get them going properly. Select. Okay, it actually selected more than I wanted for some reason. Deselect. Wonder what's happening here. So you have to be careful with your tabs. This one and this one. Okay, create a movie. Is downloaded from the cloud. I told you before, I chose this option to save some space on my device, so it has to download them from the cloud to do some editing. When it comes to this, the device may feel slow. It's actually not slow when it comes to the actual editing and creation of a video. The iPhone 7 CPU still holds its own in a decent manner. Of course, you can add all sorts of effects and crazy things. Creating a movie, you can apply some effects at some point. You can trim it, mess with the speed, volume, titles, filter, actually quite a few of them. You can also add extra voice and extra pics using the camera. Okay, I'm done with the Apple Pencil. It's an excellent tool, don't get me wrong, but it feels a bit big for people who have been using skinny styluses for a long while, or should we say styli. Anyways, there's also the augmented reality thing. So this is one of the most interesting ones. This is made with Unity, and it actually simulates a farm life, an actual farm and an ecosystem. Shows you the rain, the farmers, the cattle. There are a lot of AR apps. We actually hear a voice which tells us a story. Okay, let's actually generate it.
At WWF, we believe people can live in harmony with nature. This is the story of free-flowing rivers.
So we should be generating it right about now. It wants a better lit environment, but this is actually quite well lit. Anyways, you know, it has a camera here. You also have the IKEA place where you can use well, your surroundings to place furniture with AR. There are also AR star apps. Okay, so you can actually add a piece of furniture. Let's add this. We should be able to generate it at some spot. Oh my. We got the furniture thing going on, and you can actually see it. You can see the chair. It's getting bigger or smaller. I have to spin it. That's IKEA. IKEA is being a bit troublesome, even when you're not actually assembling objects. Anyways, we also have the Leo AR camera. This is more childish. You can place dinosaurs, symbols, or whatever, toys, 3D items in space. So I can place a bunch of clowns, I guess. Okay, kittens is being generated right now and being loaded from the cloud, I presume. And we can actually take a picture with the kitten included. And here's an actual kitten licking itself. Still some problems with the proper orientation. You can move it. You can rotate it, you can place it here. Even though AR gets a lot of praise on this tablet, it feels a bit incipient. My favorite thing to do is the Froggypedia app, which lets you dissect a frog without actually killing it, and that's useful to have. Anyways, that's about it, and now I guess it's time to talk about the apps pre-installed on the device. As you can see, we got the FaceTime, we got the reminders, we got the App Store, we got the iBooks, the videos, of course, Notes, very useful. There's Photo Booth, Find Friends, Find iPhone, and that's pretty much it. I guess it's time for the verdict for the iPad 2018. Of course, we have the pros and cons. On the pro side, it's a very comfy device, it's got a very solid battery, good performance, solid cameras, and nice acoustics from the speakers at the bottom. It's pencil compatible and it doesn't overheat, so that's pretty solid. On the con side, it's got big bezels for what people want for 2018. It's got a non-laminated screen, the panel is separated from the glass. It doesn't have 4 speakers, the pencil is not bundled, it's sold separately. It's cheap, but in some countries not as affordable as they make it seem. And also, when you look at it at an angle, you may find the annoyances of the non-laminated panel. Basically, this is the tablet to buy for school, for the kids. However, keep in mind, you will also be prepared to spend some money on the cool software that comes with the AR features and the Apple Pencil features. So you're not just buying the tablet, you're buying the experience, and you're going to spend extras. Extras mean the pencil, all sorts of keyboard accessories, all sorts of proficient apps which are very expensive for the full versions, and I find that an Android alternative with a solid Wacom stylus may make you spend less for the kids in the classroom. Still, if you're iOS oriented, this is the thing to buy if you're a teacher who wants to inspire the kids for a new experience. Too bad it's not sold with the Apple Pencil, but hey, it's Apple. So overall, I'm impressed by the performance, don't get me wrong. If you're all about gaming and PUBG, it's very okay for you, also very okay battery, but I find that Apple's Apple Pencil could be just a bit better. Not very impressed by it. This is from Tablet-News.com. Bye bye.